So I've got a bit of a confession to make. I've been spending rather a lot of time scouring eBay during lockdown looking for vintage photography equipment, things that I've been wanting for quite a while, I've had in my shopping basket and just haven't really had the time to research or click the button and buy. So this morning a letter arrived and inside it was this, which is a little bit of a giveaway as to the parcel that arrived about an hour after it. Hopefully that's exactly what's inside. Let's take a little look. Marks and Spencer's bag, Sainsbury's bag, Tesco's bag, and a wine rack bag. Feels promising. Good to see that it's well bubble wrapped and protected. Yes, it is indeed exactly what I expected. This is the Mamiya C330 medium format TLR film camera. The last time I think I used it was probably when I was studying photography at Nottingham-Trent University. So that was quite some time ago. Forgot how heavy it was. Now this thing shoots 6x6cm square format negatives on 120 roll film. It's an incredibly robust and well-made piece of equipment. This is the professional model. There's also a F and an S model that came later in the series. The camera system itself has lots of modular accessories. This one has the waist level finder, but you can also purchase prism level finders, some of them having metering capabilities as well. There's also a wide range of lenses available for this camera. There's a 55mm and 65mm wide angle lenses. This is the 80mm lens, which is equivalent to around a 50mm on 35mm. There's also a 105mm focal length, a 135mm lens, which I purchased at the same time as the camera. And there's a 180mm and a 250mm as well. Now I picked this up on eBay, just over £300 on an auction, which I think is a pretty fair price. The 135mm I picked up for an additional £100. So for just over £400 shipped, I got the camera body and two lenses, which I think is a great deal. So what I won't be doing today is a review of the camera. This is more a features walk around of the camera. I feel that realistically you need to have some time getting used to a camera again. It's been so long since I've used one of these, and essentially I just want to get comfortable with it again. Perhaps I'll do one in the future, but for now it's just a quick walk around of the camera, and I'm going to head out and take some pictures later just to make sure that it actually works. I've just familiarized myself with the controls once again, and I just want to run you through some of the basic features and functions. So on the right hand side of the camera here, you have the film advance winder. You also have a single and multi-exposure dial and the film counter window. In terms of focusing, on the left and the right hand side of the camera you have the racking focus, which you'll notice includes a bellows, which is great for close and macro focusing. At the top of the camera you have the pop out waist level finder. Pops open like so, and you have a bright and clear ground glass for focusing. There's also a pop out magnifier here, which is really useful for getting critical focus, and that just folds away like so. Let's try again. That's much easier. On the left hand side of the camera you have a distance scale, which you can choose which of the Mamiya lenses you're using. Gives you a readout of the distance, and I believe helps you to calculate the exposure and the bellows extension, the extra exposure you need to add, as of course you lose light the further you extend the bellows. There's also a dial right here for parallax correction and for selecting your ISO. One of the really unique features of this TLR camera is the fact it's got interchangeable lenses, which is really quite rare for TLR cameras. Your traditional TLRs being things like Rolleiflexes, Yashicas, things like that, which I've also shot with in the past. But this particular camera is quite unique in that sense. And the way you change lens on this camera is pretty unique as well. What you do is change the dial here from lock to unlock. Easier said than done. And what that does is releases the catch inside the camera, so you can actually pop this rail down and just pop out the lens like so. So I'm going to fit in the 135mm lens that I bought for this at the same time. So you just swing away the arms, pop the lens in, and click it into place. Then of course you just need to switch the dial back to lock. Now as you do that, to change lenses, the camera flips up another curtain at the front so that if you have loaded film in the back, it's not going to expose when you change the lens around. The top lens is the viewing lens, whereby you can look through and focus and compose the shots. The bottom lens being a taking lens, which is fitted with a leaf shutter, which is great because it can operate anywhere in its range with flash synchronization. To set your aperture and shutter speed on the C330, you need to go to the left-hand side of the lens, where you will find a dial for both shutter speed and aperture. This particular lens ranges between bulb and 1 second all the way up to 500th of a second. The shutter of the camera can either be fired to the right of the lens here, or to the bottom right of the camera here, and you also have the option to mount a cable release into this one as well. One feature that I really like about the C330 is the shutter locking switch, which is located right here to the right side of the camera. That just locks up both of the shutter releases to make sure that it doesn't accidentally fire in your bag. That's something that's happened to me rather a lot. Quite a frustrating act of getting a roll of film back with a bunch of unexposed frames, so that's greatly appreciated. At the bottom of the camera you have a 1/4-20 mounting thread for tripods. And finally, to the back cover of the camera, to open the back up you simply move this dial until the circle dot is at the top, slide over to the right and it should open up. You have the film spool to go in the bottom there. The take-up spool goes at the top, and to release the spools you simply pull these dials at the side. Now that's a quick overview of the Mamiya C330 TLR medium format film camera. I think this is a great piece of kit. I think it's well worth the investment, and at the moment super cheap compared to other things on the market of comparable quality and value. So I'm going to get some film loaded up in it now and head out and test it. Right, so I've just come back from a little walk in the woods, taking a few pictures around there and a couple of pictures of my wife as well, just at home. The two films I used were Ilford Delta 400 and Berger Pancro 400. Try not to judge me on these pictures too much, I took them pretty quickly, and I just really wanted to get used to how the TLR works again. It's been, as I say, quite a long time since I've used it. I shot a little bit on the 135, a little bit on the 80mm as well, and the thing to remember about TLRs is of course that inverted axis really throws you off when you're trying to frame shots up. The weight wasn't too much of an issue for me. Of course, it was only a short walk, but I feel if you're out for anything longer than 2 or 3 hours, you'd probably start to feel this camera digging into your shoulder just a touch. I'm glad to say that the camera is working absolutely superbly. I'm really happy with it. It is going to take quite a bit of time for me to get used to this again. I would say this is a camera with a pretty steep learning curve. I would recommend at least a week or so of getting used to it shooting regularly before you go out and shoot anything that's really crucial. I might be biased because I'm already a big Mamiya fan. I own a 645 Pro and a 645 1000S, which I love. I love the Mamiya Secor lenses. I think that Mamiya builds some fantastic cameras. This is no exception. I think this is a fantastic, affordable option for medium format shooting in square. And that's it for my unboxing and overview of the Mamiya C330 medium format film camera. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you soon.